Hello, Danielle. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Hi guys, nice to meet you guys.
Nice
Nice
to
to meet
meet you
you too.
too. Guess what? I mean, I don't know. You're either not gonna like this, or maybe you're gonna go, "Oh, cool," because I was thinking that. So here we go. We talked to Mackenzie Dern a couple hours ago, and one of my questions to her was, when you reach the pinnacle of submission grappling and BJJ, at that point in time, did you ever imagine that you would be the UFC champ 10 years later? And she said, "Nope." She had no idea. She loved competing and grappling like you. And it wasn't until people kept pushing her that she finally migrated that way. So, anyway, my question to you is, how much more do you want to accomplish in grappling? And is your goal to stay in grappling, or have you ever thought about mixed martial arts?
Yeah, so I trained, well, when I started jiu-jitsu at like 8 or 9 and like I was getting bullied as a kid, I wanted to fight MMA or just I call it like fighting. I wanted to do like the punching, kicking stuff because of
Mhm.
Gina Carano. So, and getting bullied, so I was like, I don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. And that's originally why I signed up, I guess, for jiu-jitsu, but at the time I didn't know it was jiu-jitsu. So it was like one of those things like I signed up for MMA, but my coach at the time didn't want me to do MMA. He wanted me to like stick with grappling, and then I did grappling. But also too, like when I started at that time, like Gina Carano was like a big name, but women's MMA as a whole wasn't a huge thing. And though my dad wanted me to do a sport, I guess he didn't know like it was called jiu-jitsu at the time, but he was, they're pretty old school. So it was like one of those things like he didn't want to see me get punched in the face. He wanted me to just use it as more of like a self-defense aspect, not like a career thing because, unfortunately at the time like women's MMA wasn't big, and he like saw like Cyborg, and he was like, I don't want my daughter doing that, no. But and then I started doing wrestling. I started competing a lot more in like jiu-jitsu, and my dad liked me doing jiu-jitsu stuff more than like getting kicked and punched in the face. But then I was like, years later, I was like, Dad, like it's getting bigger. Like I should have just been like one of the first few. Cause then I saw like Paige Van Zant, like, she was really pretty and like she was like closer and same age. So it's like, this girl's doing it, so that could be me. But I can understand like why, my dad didn't want me like doing it at such a young age.
How much more do you want to accomplish in this sport?
I definitely want to get wins and hopefully like have achieved my first like UFC BJJ title because I was like the first jiu-jitsu women's grappler for like technically UFC jiu-jitsu, but like it was called the invitational, but like quintet. And I did my
Ooh,
first
I remember
ever
that. Yeah.
UFC like match with them, but it wasn't called UFC BJJ. But I technically like did the first women's match for UFC. So I have like that accomplishment and like other promotions. So yeah, it's pretty cool to look back because like I made a name for myself and I'm very proud of it.
You were at that card when those MMA fighters competed as WEC, Strike Force, and it was about
Yes.
7 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was I went against Cynthia. Yeah, it was like Strike
Calvillo.
Force, UFC. Yes.
Yes, it makes sense now. Okay. We were at that event. We loved it because we saw a lot of
Mhm.
Pride fighters, Strike Force
Mhm.
fighters. We also grew up in that era, and so we were well familiar with many of them. It was a great night, except for Cub Swanson, who got his knee torn by Jake Shields.
Yes, and I think that's like when they stopped like I guess leg locks for like UFC fighters or
Mm,
MMA fighters, like
yeah.
the rule
Well,
set.
what started all this, Danielle, was, so I'm looking at your record, and yeah, Calvillo, Modafferi was a title challenger who came real close to winning the title. Of course, Dern you didn't fight, but or compete against, but we mentioned her earlier. And then there was one, oh, Carla Esparza, another one. So
Mhm.
all I kept thinking was like, wow. I mean, I didn't want to like shove MMA down your throat because this is about promoting BJJ, your matchup. But we're MMA junkie and we are definitely interested in all the sports. But I have to ask her, if she's in that same mindset as Mackenzie. Is it just in your possible future? And then we'll leave it at that, I promise.
It's possible because I definitely like I'm like one of those people like once I like put my mind to something like I want to like check it off. And like I started jiu-jitsu because I wanted to fight, but it just ended up not happening. And I think I was pretty decent with like cage stuff, pretty decent like takedown defense. My defense is pretty good. Like I try to be well rounded, but I mean, I want a family and everything eventually, so I don't know, but it's not checked off completely. Like I definitely would like to just have one, just so I can say I did it and like show my future kids that I was a fighter.
Well, you're definitely a fighter no matter what. I mean, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is no joke, leaving people with
No, it's
broken limbs, suffocating for air, begging for mercy. It's a fight too. And she will be competing next Thursday, folks. You can watch the matches, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu matches on Fight Pass, August 20th. And let me turn it over to Goes. Goes, what do you have for Danielle Kelly?
Danielle, so the Meta Apex, right? It's had a little bit of an upgrade. There's a lot more room for fans there. When it comes to jiu-jitsu, are the fans motivating the way they are in MMA, or can they almost be like a distraction?
That's a good question, actually. So I can only speak from like my experience, like when I, traveled to like Asia and like I was actually like in a Cajun ring. You can sometimes like hear it, but like once you're like in the zone, it's kind of like background noise. But I think like with MMA folks, I feel like they're more I mean, you have like good like shouts, but then you have like bad ones that like, there's a lot of social media around like MMA fighters, especially. So I feel like they can be a little mean with like the fighters. But jiu-jitsu, it's one of those things. I mean, I can only speak for my matches. I feel like my matches, people get crazy. So I like they either want me to lose, they like don't want me to win, or they don't they like the other person like getting the attention, and it's like, I'm just there to grapple. So I mean, I just did tournaments too. Like I did like a few of these tournaments called like ADCC, and like I was like in like the finals or like matches where people just focused on my match, and it's kind of like a super fight. But yeah, like it kind of just goes like in background, like a background sound. So I just focus, just trying to like finish the opponent. I try to like make it think like it's just music or something. Doesn't
Mhm.
affect me.
The reason I ask is just because like in grappling, it's the same as in mixed martial arts. Everybody has different styles to their grappling. And in MMA, we have counter fighters, right, that are going to wait for you to make the first move, and you'll get that a lot in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. How do you deal with those individuals that kind of make you be the aggressor? Because I know that you like being aggressive, right?
Yeah, I do, but I also like countering.
Yeah, both sides.
Both sides. Well, I mean, my like for my opponent that's coming up.
Mhm.
Well, I know she attacks a lot, so I mean, I can't really give away like anything. I'm pretty I mean, people always try to go after me because I'm smaller, so it's like they try to prove a point. So I don't know. Like I'm ready. I can attack her. I can counter. I think people. I don't know. Like I've gone against. I train with like champions. Like people really try to go after me, and I feel like I don't get like that respect at times. So. I mean, she could watch my matches. Like, there was like at some points I'll get my back taken or almost got taken, or someone's trying to attack my arm. I reverse it. I submit them. So I try to be like well rounded on both sides for sure.
In your opinion, what do you think is like the GOAT submission? One that you've always wanted to get, maybe you haven't gotten yet, or one that you want to get on this stage?
I want like I always say rear naked choke because they have no choice but to tap or they just go to sleep. Like everyone else is just doing leg locks right now, and honestly, like all my last like 5, 6 submissions are all leg locks. So I'm like, I don't want to do a leg lock, but if it's there, like I'm taking it home with me, obviously. But I just want like a rear naked choke or a triangle because rear naked choke and triangle are the two best basic techniques of submissions in jiu-jitsu and grappling. So jiu-jitsu grappling. That's like the two I want. Triangle I learned. Rear naked choke I learned the first day of my jiu-jitsu career as a kid. And then triangle was like second.
We're part Peruvian. Our mom's from Peru. What about Peruvian necktie? like what Patty
I
Pimblett
actually do try
snagged
to
the other
work on
day.
that. But my hands are like kind of small, so I can't do it right.
You saw Patty do it, right? A few weeks ago.
Oh, he did it with like he like grabbed
Started
his
with the
bicep.
stars. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. He put the guy to sleep.
What about the twister? Are you a fan of the twister?
I've always wanted to do the twister, yes, but I feel like girls, especially, they're really flexible. So it's like one of those things
It's
that
true.
you might get it fast, or they're able to like escape because they're flexible.
Speaking of twister, you've obviously probably heard of Eddie Bravo from 10th Planet. And I remember he came into our studio about 10 years ago, maybe more. And as he was starting his Eddie Bravo Invitationals and Metamoris and all these other shows, what he told me was, because we asked him, does your show fill up like the UFC as as the night goes? He says, heck no. And he says he strategically used to place ladies slash girl matches, right? Because he goes, they're like cats and the fans go nuts because they're so acrobatic and quick and can take your back. And he says they were slowly becoming stars in his promotion. I don't know if he's continued it or slowed down or what happened, but he went out of his way to say he said girls and young ladies were stars in his league because of the rules. He really wanted a finish and things like that. Did you ever feel the same? I guess where, yeah, granted, of course, Abu Dhabi, absolute. I'm sure there's a lot of great weight classes, but did your weight class take off like I heard 10 years ago?
Yes, so it's really weird because jiu-jitsu is in a weird spot right now. And I feel like I was at one point the face of like women's 115-pound division. I never claimed that I'm the best in the world. I never, because a lot of people that tune in like to watch me whether I'm winning or losing. And unfortunately, like it just helps my opponent, depending like the promotion. And I feel like at one point it was taking off. And then, you know, I don't want to like get into it too much, but I get if I lost, they like decide to drop that weight class. So like, who kept that weight class going? Who had like why was there more action? Why they dropped a weight class after someone won? So it's one of those things, and I unfortunately people may disagree, but I feel like the smaller weight class women do not get enough attention or love, especially nowadays. I feel like it's mostly like the heavier weight class. And if you're like around in the jiu-jitsu world, there's this thing called like absolute division. So it's basically like the open weight.
Right.
There's always so many open weight divisions for like big women and that win. And it's like there's no love for small girls. Zero. So I might get hate for saying this, but it's the truth. And I like to take pride that I did my part trying to like, bring out the smaller weight classes. But a lot of times too, like a lot of jiu-jitsu people are just boring. So I like to take pride that people watch me, whether they like me or don't like me. But if you're making a brand for yourself, you have to put yourself out there. And when I fight, or sorry, when I grapple, not fight, but same thing. When I go out there, I mean, I know my parents are watching over me, and I put a lot of emotion to like my training and everything. So, and I worked hard like back then, like I would just, promote my brand more, like post pictures of myself, whatever. It was like one of those things like back then. Now it's social media, like everyone does it. Everyone's doing the same thing. So it's like hard to like be seen because everyone's literally doing the same thing. So yeah, I think, with the weight class thing, I think smaller girl weight classes they're not getting love. And I tried to put it out there, but they kind of like kicked me to the curb. So I said, whatever, don't care. So I'm just doing this for fun.
You've brought it up a few times, and now I'm really curious. You said people tune in whether they want to see me win or lose. Behind the scenes, are you a bratty person, a bitchy person? Why do so many people want you to lose?
I don't know if I'm bitchy or bratty. I go out, I just want to win. I think that's just my like my stature, I guess. I just want to compete because a lot of times I think, I can speak for other people's daughters, their moms, their sisters,
Are you
girls like me.
cocky?
Am I cocky? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
All right, just curious. I thought, wow, maybe she's like a heel. Like in pro wrestling, they're called heels, the ones that always get booed and thumbs down and they want them to
Well, it
lose.
just sucks because like I feel like trying like if you want to like be a name, well, I guess MMA players can like kind of, I guess, I can say an example like as Sean O'Malley. Like I don't think he's doing like social media presence stuff anymore, but someone that's like funny and then like they get hate for no reason, but people tune in to watch that fight because of him, not the
Yeah.
other person. So I feel like for me, I mean, unfortunately, like there's probably people like again, I'm speaking for daughters, maybe your kids or like your moms or sisters, like anyone that's doing jiu-jitsu or like professionally, like someone's like daughter out there. Like for me, for myself, like there's mean people out there like that either like want you to lose or like they think
Yeah.
that you didn't get what you deserve, or sorry, you didn't accomplish, or you got things handed to you. And like growing up, I never really got anything handed to me. I kind of just had to like really work hard for it. So I do take pride in that. I don't know if that's bitchy or cocky, so that was like a little weird.
No worries.
Well,
I gotta finish with this. You talked about bullies when you were younger.
Hmm.
Did you ever have a bunch of bullies walk in like before one of your matches and say, well, if it isn't our little friend Danielle, what's the matter? Your mommy isn't here to dress you?
What would I do?
No, I'm just kidding. That's a quote
Oh,
from a movie, and I wondered if you knew it.
no. No,
No?
but I had a bully like walk into my classroom and like try to fight me.
Really?
Yeah.
So they weren't even in the same classroom?
No. Well, I think I was a junior, so it was like one of those things like if you have like first period, second period. So this is like like one of the last periods of the day. And yeah, I was in science
Please share the
class.
story. What happened?
Yeah, I was in science class, but since I like switched schools again, because like my dad passed, so I went to like a different like district. And my math and my science classes were just ahead of my grade. Don't no clue why, but I guess it's like how because I did geometry or whatever like early on. But I did
Mhm.
chemistry early on, so I was in like I was in like a biology class with like the upperclassmen, the seniors. So I was like one of the couple of juniors in my class, and I guess like she knew like she was a senior with the kids, so like I guess she like knew someone at that class, and then she said like I don't know, it was like one of those like weird kid things like Danielle said this or something, and like
Right.
I was this quiet kid with my wrestling bag, like trying to like finish whatever assignment I was doing because I think the teacher he wasn't there. I think he like went out to like talk to another teacher about something. But
Mhm.
yeah, she like went into my classroom, and then I just remember when she dropped her bag, that's when I knew I needed to like stand up from my desk and like take her down. Don't let her step to me. That's all I
Mhm.
remember. And I just kept like punching, elbowing her face in, and I didn't get suspended. She did for like a day or two. So
Wow, it worked out for you. You got the KO, you got the W, and you didn't get suspended.
yeah,
This is
it was
MMA,
pretty
Danielle. This
cool.
sounds like fun. You're smiling as you tell the story.
Yeah,
You
I
need to
mean,
get
she was
that
a
one
big
match in.
girl. She was a really big girl. So I think like when I compete too, like I get like little people syndromes because like I don't know, I'm like I was always the smallest, so like I don't like bullies like that.
How tall are you?
How tall I'm like 5'1".
Oh, okay. All right. Well, did you ever watch Karate Kid? The
The
first
first
one?
one. Yeah, the
That's
first
what
one.
happens in one of the final scenes is the Cobra Kai's walk in. Remember Daniel LaRusso doesn't know how to put on his gi and they walk in, they go, well, if it isn't our friend Danielle, they're calling him.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah,
So
I forget all the cheesy part. It was like in the 80s. Yeah.
it was 80s. Yeah, it's my era. I'm old. I'm
I'm
cheesy.
more of a blood sport fan.
Mm.
nice.
Blood sport. Like
Can't
those
go
were
wrong
like the
with Bloodsport.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it was nice meeting you. Thanks for being a good sport and listening to some of our silliness. But we're really excited to talk to you. And I
I
hope
hope it
one
wasn't
day,
too bratty for this interview.
not at all. That's why I'm like, why do they want her to lose? She's not coming off bitchy or bratty. I use bratty just to soften things up, but I really meant bitchy. Like, do people
No,
think she's
I
a
know.
bitch or
It's
anything?
okay.
But
Well,
you seem
the
very
jiu-jitsu
nice.
world's pretty weird, so
Mm.
people are just
Mm,
you
You're
get
very
attention,
charismatic.
you get it's weird, but it's one of those things like all right, I just gotta go out there and beat them.
I'm only gonna take 10 more seconds out of your time. You want to hear something funny? This
Mhm.
guy got a cramp in his ribs about 5 minutes ago. Every time we go to you in a solo shot, he's doing these twists behind the scenes, and I'm laughing my ass off.
Because you don't know us very well, and so what happened was he never we've done probably 10,000 interviews. He's never screwed up the intro, but he just happened to do it now, and it made me laugh, and making it laugh triggered it. So I had to put you on the full screen and just start squirming, and had to fight through the pain, you know? So then, but when I get hurt, I do the opposite. I laugh. And so I didn't want you to think I was laughing at you. So I was putting you up full screen as
No,
much as
you're good. I understand.
dying over here.
I hope you're okay.
I'm all right. I'll work through it.
Yeah, you might want to get that checked out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle, for the time.
Thank you guys.
All right,
It
we'll
was
see
fun.
you. Good luck next Thursday. Maybe we'll be in the Meta Apex. We'll say hi.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll say
All
hi,
right.
you guys.